What does it mean to be truly alive? What does it really mean to live out all your dreams and ambitions that your heart desires? How does that feel to get the girl that you want? How does it feel to have millions upon millions of dollars, to have FU money where you don't have to deal with nobody's negative energy and you don't have to deal with people's just evil thoughts and evil plots? How does it feel to be in that position? How does it feel to be happy in this world? These are some of the questions that a lot of us in this position, we just don't know, or we probably never will know. Because a lot of us were just trapped in this dark misery. We're trapped in this perpetual cycle of pain. It's very difficult to get across to normies and people that don't live a life like us and tell them how horrible and horrific this life is that we live. Most people don't really care about what you're going through. Your own family, your friends, or your associates, they can visibly see that there could be something wrong with you, but they don't offer any type of help or assistance. Instead, they offer persecution. They blame you. They say it's your fault. They say, you know, you're the reason why, people don't like you because of your personality, because you don't think positive or this, that, and the third. And it's like, really? Are you really going to try to say that? You going to try to pull some BS like that? Really? What if it's because certain people like us, we're just not liked because there's something that's working against us that doesn't want us to be happy, that doesn't want us to be fulfilled, that always wants us constantly to be anxious, to be scared, to be nervous. This world gets real, man. A lot of us, man, we can't financially really stand on our own 2 feet by ourselves. Like, we need roommates. We need multiple jobs. You got to work 2 or 3 jobs, and you got to live with somebody and maybe rent a room here and there. And that's just a brutal reality. And then you see some people in this world where, like this is one music producer that I watch. I'm not going to name his name, but he's 18 years old and he's already like a platinum producer. And he shows his house and his cars and all that. I'm thinking, now, there was a time in life where I was a quote unquote Christian. I believed in God and all that. And I was already going through hardships then. So why didn't that God help me become a successful person at 18 years old? So it showed me that not only was it possible for me to be some millionaire at 18 or 21, from music or whatever, but not only is it possible, but that it came relatively easy and quick to that person. Then I thought that everybody's life is its own customized hell, right? Because something that would have benefited me exponentially, being able to be creative and not go outside my room or leave the house that much because I go through extreme mental issues. It's not me just coming up with some fucking excuse. I'm not just talking out my ass. I'm not just saying, I don't want to work because I'm lazy. No, you ignorant piece of crap. The reason why that I can't be at these regular 9 to 5s or don't want to go at these regular 9 to 5s is because I have severe mental issues, bro. Right? I've been through a lot. I've been through hell. I've been through agony. I have to face death and destruction. I have to face corruption. I have to face all these motherfucking things. Right? I had to face these things alone. I didn't have no help. I didn't have nobody who had my back. Everybody turned against me. Everybody went against me. Everybody wanted to see me fail. There's people watching this channel now who don't even like me, but they're watching my channel. Make it make sense, right? This world is absolutely brutal and absolutely just damaging to a man's and to anybody's psychological health. This is why I can't get when women talk about, women can be lonely too and all this. It's like, shut up, like just be quiet and go ahead and get on your knees and please Chad and Tyrone. You couldn't comprehend the hell that I have to go through every day, the hell that we have to go through in this position. Do you know every single day thoughts of septuku enter my mind, enter all of our minds. We all think about it because we realize that what's the point of this? What's the point of me waking up every single day, going to a 9 to 5 and still being broke, still being depressed, still being stressed, still being under threat of persecution, and still being under somebody's power? I'll never, ever, ever, ever own a mansion, right? I'll never be in a position like certain people. I'm not going to mention names anymore. I'm not going to be in a position of certain people who have reached economic success and they don't have to work jobs they don't like. Do you know how, I don't want to say the word blessed, but do you know how lucky you have to be able to be 18 years old and be a famous music producer, never working a job, never going to school, never dealing with, crap. You have your own house. This guy doesn't live in an apartment. He has a house and he's 18 years old. How is that even possible? You know? And then, it's like what makes life crappy is it never blesses the same. Like there's no like you can have somebody working hard for years. They're working hard making videos. They're working hard doing this, and they get no traction. They get no attention. They get nothing. Then you have somebody come out of nowhere, and within a year or less, they become the biggest thing, right? And you can't really hate. You can't hate the player. You got to hate the game, right? You can't do no hating. You can't get jealous. That's just how life goes, man. I've never been a jealous person like that, but there's certain things in life that it make me question things. I never been somebody like, oh, I'm jealous because he has this. Like, no, that's not who I am. I can care less what another man is doing with his time and whatever. But I'm just noticing how it would be beneficial to my life if I was able to get into a position of financial um, stabilization to the point where I can be able to create, or I can be able to focus time on creative aspects and endeavors that can generate monetization and generate an acceleration of economic stabilization. I'll be in a great place mentally, physically, health wise. Can you imagine if we're able to do our creative adventures and endeavors and we don't have to deal with like negative people? You don't got to go to that job every single day that drains you. You go into that job every single day. It's like a humiliation ritual. It's like it's draining you on purpose. You wonder why you're getting sick. You're like, you wonder why, your head's hurting, your stomach's hurting. Because man, like lately, bro, I've been getting like just sick, like it's just like, and I'm the type of person, I don't really get sick like that. Right. And I noticed that I'm getting sick because I'm under stress. And I noticed that when I was happy, you got some kush to smoke, all that stress goes away and I automatically ill. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes to show you how many people passed away because of cancer because they were really stressed. If you put them in a different environment, gave them a different diet, and didn't have them worry about bills or whatever, that these people probably would have survived. Life is hard, man. Life is brutal, and this life is critical. It's pivotal that we have to escape negative events and situations if we can. But you know what? I want you to notice something, and notice this concisely and precisely. Notice that whenever you want to escape a situation instantaneously, let's say you have to be forced to live with a roommate or forced to be at a job where the coworkers are just narcissists and they're backstabbers or whatever. Say you have to work at a job like that, right? So you'll notice that you've been saving up money, for a while to try to, you know, get away from that job and try to go search for another job. You're trying to save up, 5,000, 7,000 bucks. Then all of a sudden your car brakes break down, then your car engine light comes on, then this comes on, then somebody breaks into your window at the apartment, or somebody breaks your car window, and this, that, and this, and and it's like, wow. And then so all that money you've been saving up goes back to zero. Now you're forced to be in that situation, that negative event that's causing you harm and causing you hurt. This is loose energy farming. Point blank, period. And I know a lot of people are coming around. I'm hearing hearing a lot more people on like even on like normie channels. I'll be watching, like they're saying like it feels like something doesn't want them to win. It's like, yes, like it feels that way, doesn't it? Because certain people are allowed to win. Like that one guy I was talking about, 18-year-old music producer, has his own house, has a Mercedes Benz, and I'm like, wow, like you achieved what I dreamed of. Yet I'm almost 20 years older than you, and I'm nowhere near that. You know, mentally ill. I'm suffering every single day. My mind is trying to focus. My mind is focused on survival and trying to focus on economic stabilization. If I was a female, how many people would come out the woodworks to help me? You know what I mean? And I appreciate everybody that cash at me and PayPal me, when they can. I appreciate them. But if I was a female, do you know how big this channel would be? If I was a European female with blue eyes and blonde hair, and I'm saying the exact same things now, you know how many people, how much love I would get, right? And why I bring this up is because I seen this one channel, right? This one girl's talking about how her dog has cancer. Her dog, and I think she made like $50,000. It's Emma's MySpace, by the way. She's beautiful, but she made a post talking about her dog. And this is like a while back, but she was talking about her dog. Like her dog needed some type of cancer treatment, and like people came with like $50,000. I don't think the treatment was even that. The treatment was like at least a few grand or something like that, right? But she made over 50 grand. I'm like, damn. And then I remember a long time ago I was watching ASMR GB. You guys probably know who she is. She's pretty famous. And I was remember watching GB. She was doing a live stream, and she said, "Yeah, all we need is about $10,000 for this fundraiser." And I'm kid you not, I was watching it for about maybe under 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, and I seen it raise up to 400 donations, $400, $500, $800, $1,000, and it just shot up. You know, it went past. I think the original goal was like 10,000 or something like that, and then it passed up. And even GB was like, "Whoa!" I was like, "Okay, guys, we met our goal," because she was already rich then. She's like, "Okay, guys, we met our goal. I appreciate it." People still kept sending her money, you know, to the point where within like under 10 minutes, bro, it was like $50,000, like 40. It was like 47,000 something, basically 50,000. And I remember just like, wow. And I remember like going watch something else, and I came back like an hour and a half later, and she was up to like $95,000 in donations. Like the original goal was like 10 grand. So she just pocketed the rest. And I'm just thinking like that she just spent an afternoon, or it wasn't even a full day. It was like between 6 p.m. to about 11 p.m. or something like that. She streamed for a few hours, right? And she made more money in a night, in the evening, in a nighttime than people make in a year. And I was like, when I seen people make money like that, I said, you know what, bro? I got to create something. I got to come up with something. I got to make a business. I got to come up with something where I can make money like that, you know? And she was just sitting, just doing ASMR. And I'm like, wow. And that lets me know the universe, because like if I tried to make a channel or something like, you know, like another type of channel and try to make it, you know, the universe can do everything in its power to not allow me to be successful, you know, because the content I make on this channel is not really content that generates millions of dollars, right? It's too real. It's too raw. It's too authentic. You know, it's not no fake-ish, you know. I'm not going to come on here, hey guys, like, comment, and subscribe. You know, hey guys, you know, yeah, I got this and that, and yeah, guys. You know, I was like, come on, bro. Like, I know, bro, I know you just got off work. I know you probably got to go to work. I know you're in hell. I know you don't have a woman. I know you're sick, mad, angry, depressed. You're stressed. You have regrets. Your family doesn't like you. You don't like yourself. The world doesn't like you. You're trapped. You're isolated. You're devastated. Your heart is broken. Your soul is broken. Your mind is broken. Your spirit is broken. Your time is snatched away from you. I understand how you feel, because I feel it too, man. All I do is speak from my heart. That's it. You know, and if you don't like it, man, there's millions of channels out there. You don't have to watch me. Nobody's forcing you to sit here and listen to a man who you don't know, you never met, talk, and you supposedly don't like. Right? Click off and go watch somebody else. I'm not entertaining your bullshit. I don't know you. You don't know me. Leave me alone. You know, there's this one girl. She has a channel. I'm not going to name her channel. But she came up with a term. I know she came up with it, but she said a term called cry bully. These are people that try to bully you, and then you defend yourself, and they start crying wolf, right? They start crying and said, oh, you're the bad guy. It's like, bro, I'm a grown-ass man, you know, trying to survive in this world. I'm not doing anything wrong by having a YouTube channel just talking about my life. The only thing that I did was wrong was be too real. I was too real for this community. There's a reason why I don't get views like other people. You don't see my views, you know, like Hat Flying or Tawana, you know, people like that who every video they make, they get tens of thousands of views or whatever. People, first of all, don't like me because of my skin color configuration. Let's be real. You know, if I was any other race, my channel would be 10 times bigger. And you guys know that, and I know it, right? And it's like, how many times do I tell you? And I don't even come on here being pro-black or pro-this or none of that, bro. I come on here and talk about my life and my issues. And yet people still find something to try to pick at me or try to attack me on, right? I can really, if I really wanted to, I can really be like a Tariq Nasheed, a Professor Black Truth, the Black Authority, Jason Black, Sergeant Willie Pete, Black Pill Gnostic, people like that. mad bus driver, and actually really, really go in on certain things, especially with the knowledge that I know, you know. But I don't, because I use this channel. This channel is for me to vent about my life. That's it. And so people can relate and understand, bro. You're not crazy, homie. I'm going through the same shit you going through, big homie. You know what I mean? Or little homie, whoever you are. Like I'm going through the same thing you go through. You know, I'm lonely, man. Meaning that, I want a woman. Shit, you know what I mean? I want some sexual alleviation. Point blank, period. I want a woman to, to engage in adult activities with. Like point blank, period. I know girls watching this channel, like, I know right now I'm a nothing, but in another year from now or two, what if I blew up and became one of the biggest rappers in the world? Right? I know it's not going to happen. You got to tell me. I already know. But what if that happens? How many of these girls watching me now be like, "Hey, Black Pill Villain," hey, Axion Portal, or Axion Portal, how you doing? You know what I mean? I used to watch your videos all the time. Oh, when's your next show? Oh, I'm gonna be at your show in the front row. You want my number? It's like, wow. So now you want the shillelagh. Now you want the shillelagh. You know what I mean? And I'll gladly give it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm done. But yeah, guys. I want you guys to understand, man, that I'm a normal person like you guys, bro. I was watching what's that guy's name? Damn it, I know his face, but I can't think of his name next. I watch his channel periodically. But I was watching this one channel. He was just telling me how he remember like almost the same thing happened to me in a way, but a little bit differently. Where like he had a channel, he started just talking about his life, and at first like his associates and friends didn't understand, and so he got about like 21,000 subscribers, and that's when like his friends started looking at him differently, and I'm just like, that's so fake, and that's what's wrong with the world today. Is there's a lot of fakeness in this world. People just don't know how to be real no more. People don't know how to be authentic. People don't know how to just really be just true. People are always, I don't know, man. I feel like people are just NPCs and robots. I mean, look. Don't just listen to what I'm saying. Look with your own eyes. When you go out tonight, or if you're driving, or if you're walking, listening to this, just look around you. Look at the people. Look at what they're doing. Are they looking down on their phones? Or they're eating at a coffee shop? Look at what they're doing. And you find that everything they're doing is consuming. Nobody is producing. I remember Terrence McKenna was talking about the importance of the human spirit to produce, the importance of ingenuity, and the vibrancy of creation. Creation is a thing. Like creation is the fomentation of the innovation of the spirit and soul. That's creation. What I mean by create, I mean write a rhyme. You wake up in the morning and write. Oh, I can't rap. Okay, write 2 bars, or I can't make a beat. Okay, learn how to just open up a VST and just make a melody. Make a 4-bar melody. Ding, 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 ding. Make a melody like that, and then start from there. Work on the top melody, work on the bottom melodies, try switching sounds. Like, create. Don't just consume. Originally, we weren't meant to just be consumers in this world. Well, in the pleroma, we weren't meant to just be consumers. We were meant to be our own mini gods. We were meant to create realms and dimensions. You got to understand, man. Let's get a little religious, or not religious. Let's get a little Gnostic. We weren't made for this dimension. We are trapped in this dimension. That's a huge differentiation. That's a huge difference. We weren't made to be, slaves. We weren't. We weren't made to be servants. We weren't made for this. We were made to be great. We were made to travel the world, go on adventures, meet the girls of your dreams, and we were meant to be happy. And somebody left an interesting comment in my last video. They were saying that how can we truly experience life when we don't have the power that this God does? This God who created all this, the demiurge, he has all this power. He has all this influence. He can teleport, go to any realm. He can do anything. He can get any girl that he wants. If you know about Greek mythology, you know about the god Zeus, the lightning god. And Zeus had let's just say he had an appetite for human women. That's the best way I could put it. And in these ancient stories and myths, Zeus would transform into a horse. He would transform into he would transform into something that would catch a girl's eye, and then he would happen upon her. And then his wife, what's Zeus's wife? Is her name Hera? I think her name's Hera, but Zeus's wife would get mad and then punish the girl by turning her head into snakes, or turning her into an animal, or making her blind, or doing some power like that. And it got me thinking, how are these gods any better than us if they just have if they're just basically energy beings with human behavior? Or what if it's the other way around, right? What if these gods copied our human behavior, but they copied the negative aspects of it, right? I'm just thinking, I'm just philosophizing. But I really feel like these gods and these beings that are supposed to be so high, but especially the God of the Bible, what mature God acts like that? You act like a giant baby. You get mad. You threaten to send people to hell. It's just like, really? Like what? Like, why would you want to spend an eternity with a monster like that? Who's going to take you? He can throw you to hell at any moment, at any second. You say the wrong thing, you make the wrong move, and you find yourself doomed. I don't think anybody wants to go through a type of process like that, right? Where you always got to walk on eggshells. That's one thing I noticed about this life too, is like guys like us, we got to live on eggshells. Everywhere we go, we got to be meek. We got to be humble. We got to be quiet. We can never truly be ourselves. We got to always look for a job, or work at a job, or go here, do this. Meanwhile, I'm looking for a job or trying to find a job. There's somebody in their house making beats because they made it in music. This God doesn't fucking help me. This God doesn't want me to succeed. He doesn't want me to be happy because he feeds off my negative energetic manifestation of energy, which is called loosh. Loosh. He feeds off my loosh energy. This God feeds off of it. Like I said, man, YouTube Schizo Dumps. YouTube, his channel. I can't recommend his channel enough. Schizo Dumps, one of the greats, man. He knows what he's talking about. He knows the truth. So subscribe to him and check out his content. It's grade A, tier 1 content. Somebody that has wisdom and knowledge and know what they're talking about, right? There's definitely some evil entity that's controlling all of this, man. There's definitely something. Because look at your life, man. You're working that double job. You're working that double shift. Then all of a sudden your coworkers at work, they're starting to get more negative. They're starting to get more aggressive and oppressive towards you. You're like, hey, who you talking to? If you step to them, you know that if you get on some gangster-ish, then all of a sudden they want to play the victim. Oh, we were just playing. We were just like, I can't stand people like that. Don't throw a rock if you live in a glass house, and don't throw a rock if you can't take it. Don't start beef with somebody, then hide and lie and deny and say you didn't do it. That's the most cowardly thing you can do. That's a cowardly thing you can do. That's one of the most cowardly things you can do. Is start something with somebody, and then when they defend themselves, you play the victim. This is why I don't like interacting with people much. I keep my distance from a lot of people. I don't try to engage with a lot of people. I try to just keep to myself, because a lot of people are simply just evil, wicked, and sadistic and twisted. And it's like, I'd rather protect my energy. And whatever you spend your energy in, that becomes your focus, right? Like, we have a limited time on this earth. I'm not about to spend my energy arguing with NPCs and people who just don't, who try not to get me, right? And I'm not saying nothing different than what a Paulie Walnut says, than what a Taylor the Fiend says, than what a Lord Hex Speaks says. I'm like it's just because it's coming from me. Because a lot of people are intimidated by somebody in my skin color configuration who can articulate, but they don't understand that I've done a lot of reading. When I was in my room, I read many books, right? This is why I have a consolidation of information. I have a myriad of sub points to go to, And in the books, I'm not just reading comic books. I'm reading books. I'm reading declassified documentation from the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Central Intelligence Agency. I'm reading declassified documents from, MI5, whatever ABC agency boy. I'm reading declassified documents on that, and you get a better perspective. Remember, they put a lot of things in writing and in books because nowadays most people don't read. Most people don't read books. You may go on an ASMR channel and see a girl read a book or whatever, but most everyday people, they rather play video games, watch a YouTube video. They're not going to sit down and read, but I'm a reader. I'm a writer. That's one thing. I know a lot of you guys are new to my channel, but I'm a writer. I'm an author. I love writing novels. What kind of things do you like to write? A whole bunch of stuff. Sci-fi, fantasy, whatever, horror, Like right now, I'm trying to get back on this book that I was working on years ago, where you're in the perspective of like the alien monster on board a space station. You know what I mean, right? And it switches perspectives, kind of like how Game of Thrones did it. Have you ever read the Game of Thrones books? Where I forgot, I think was it I forgot which Game of Thrones book, but it was one where he started off in the perspective of the wolf, and they hunted the humans or whatever. But it was talking like he was in the perception, the first point of view of a wolf, and how they found the humans and hunted the humans and all that. And then, like, I thought about that idea. I thought, well, why don't I remix that instead of being a wolf in some forest? Why don't I turn to like the alien on board a space station, and what's the alien's thoughts? We never get the monster's thoughts, and since the world treats me like a monster, why don't I just tell the monster's perception and thoughts? Like the monster may, like people may think the monster is hunting them because it's evil and wants to eat them, but from the monster perception, what if the monster has to hunt? What if it was programmed from a biogenetics facility to be a bioweapon, like a Terminator, or not? Yeah, like a bio Terminator, or like the T virus, you know, or like the Mr. X from Resident Evil, something like that, right? Or Nemesis from Resident Evil. What if that alien monster was programmed to do that, and it really doesn't want to do that, but it has to because it's forced to? Or what if it's just a bloodthirsty monster that thinks about that all the time, you know? But anyway, but I don't know. I just feel like, man, a lot of us, we get lost in this world because we never truly find ourselves. We never really find what really inspires us, because we have to, this world prioritizes survivability rather than creative agility and creative abilities. No one cares about your creative ability if it doesn't bring any money. If I wrote a book tonight and then in a couple of weeks it sells 1 million copies, and I sold the book for $7.99 or something like that, I sell 1 million copies. Well, you do the math on that. You know, my whole life changes. I go from being somebody in economic destitution, and then I go into somebody who has economic momentum. Now I can start companies. Now I can create this, create that. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I just feel like whatever you guys do, man, never lose that itch for creation. Never lose that passion for creating things, because at the end of the day, that's all you're gonna have in your life in this cruel, wicked, sadistic, twisted world. You know? And yeah, so you guys take care, man, and peace and stay safe. Later.